Through the Moon, the graphic novel that takes place after the end of Season 3 of The Dragon Prince, ends with Rayla and Callum separated from each other. Rayla does not want to risk anyone else's life, especially not Callum's life, so she leaves. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't want Callum to follow her. This is her mission, no one else's. Just like Aang's desire to face the Fire Lord alone in episode 301 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Awakening, this is nearsighted foolishness masquerading as nobility. Because Callum isn't with her now, she is nowhere near as safe. Now, this is not to condescend to Rayla or claim that she needs Callum's protection. It's just an honest assessment that the two of them are best when they're together. Rayla does tend to be rather bullheaded. She charges right into situations instead of stepping back and thinking about those situations. The last episode of Season 3 proves very conclusively why Rayla and Callum are better when they're together, how they balance each other out. Rayla, desperate and feeling powerless, knocks Viren off a cliffside, leading to his death. This is something she wants so badly, she's willing to sacrifice her own life for it. There's nothing she wants more than to protect the Dragon Prince Ozymandias and stop Viren. However, in this earnest idealism, Rayla nearly causes her own death, and it is only because Callum has mastered the wing spell that he is able to save her. This is a good move on the part of the writers. Season 3 of The Dragon Prince ends on this note of triumphalism. All is ostensibly right and safe and noble again. Viren has been defeated. His entire horde of dark magic zombies that he enlisted into his cause was not sufficient to defeat the combined might of humans and elves. True, Eryth is lurking in the background, having spun himself into a cocoon, and true, Claudia has been able to bring her father Viren back to life, but they are out of the picture for now. Thus, for Season 4 of The Dragon Prince, more immediate tension is needed at the start of the season to prevent everything from becoming very languid. Splitting up Callum and Rayla with the honest assessment that they're more capable of handling the challenges of the world together than apart fulfills that tension. It leads to a very unsettling feeling for us, the viewers. As deeply as they love each other and will continue to love each other, the perfect early stages of their relationship are behind them. They have different goals and ideals. Rayla is not just worried about herself, she's worried about those around her. Having lost her parents and Runan, her surrogate father figure, she is not only isolated, she is afraid. If she were only isolated, that wouldn't be a problem. If she were only isolated, Callum would be able to help her, but instead she's afraid and she pushes Callum away. Their coming together in the middle of Season 3 was a triumph, not just for the fans like us, but for these characters. Yes, having the relationship between these two become romantic was a predictable direction, as quite a few people have pointed out, but it was also the right direction to take it. The creators have said that they did not intend for this relationship to become romantic when they started writing it. It just happened that way. I rather like this, as it means that the creators did not feel the need to fill the relationship between these two with a lot of romantic gimmickry. By gimmickry, I mean cliched interactions that do not derive organically from the relationship between these two people as it has been built, but rather from some cliche, threadbare, malformed ideas of what romance should be, much of it derived from third-tier romantic comedies from 30 years ago. This is the same trap that befalls Avatar: The Last Airbender. If the purpose of fiction is to portray something honestly, without artifice or sentimentality, to see the sunlight, not just the shadows in Plato's cave, to do what the great American poet Wallace Stevens calls portraying the thing itself and not just the image of the thing, then Avatar: The Last Airbender mostly succeeds with some very convincing and haunting portraits of all kinds of relationships, but when it comes to romance, it falters, tending toward empty sentimentality. The Dragon Prince is not quite as much of a masterpiece as Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it does have a more comprehensive and nuanced idea of romance. While some might consider the relationship rushed, I don't really agree. It just has a lack of pretense and planning, which happens, especially when you're dealing with a relationship between these two teenagers who are stuck together on one mission for an extended period of time. These are two desperate people. They're looking for their place in the world. They've been hanging around the shadows of their respective societies, unable to measure up to the roles they're expected to play, or else unwilling to fill those roles. They become close and they grow to depend on each other, but neither of them are particularly comfortable expressing their emotions openly at first. Thus, is it any wonder that the relationship between these two happens spontaneously? I don't think so. I love how it doesn't feel planned. If it's chaotic in a realistic way that I think benefits the show's portrayal of the struggle inside these characters. However, that they did not really plan this means they don't know how to handle the relationship going forward, especially considering what's happened with Rayla leaving. Whenever Callum does find Rayla, and I don't doubt that he will find her, the relationship will not be the same as it was before. The relationship has been hitherto built on trust, and you can't have that same level of trust if Rayla is just going to abandon Callum. Then again, neither of them have been the most emotionally stable people throughout the show. I don't say that as an insult, and I don't even necessarily mean to imply that they're self-destructive, but Callum is a prince who's never really felt like a prince. Soren calls him the step-prince. He's a prince only because his mother, now deceased, married the king, now deceased. Rayla is perhaps in an even more unfortunate place, as no one trusts her because of the reputation her parents have as betrayers of elven kind. Now, of course, this reputation is unfounded, as we see in Season 3, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is that she's constantly had to grow up in fear and anxiety, and knowing that other people might not like her for reasons that have nothing to do with her. These are two people who have not had the most support growing up. They're in the most unstable and turbulent time of life, adolescence, and they both lost the person they care most about in the world, each other. For both of them, Season 4 is not going to be an easy time. It's going to be a time when all the assurance and confidence they've built up throughout these past 3 seasons is fundamentally challenged. Still, I don't doubt that they'll forgive each other. Despite their fear and reservations, they still love each other, and that does not look like it's going to change. The parts of their lives that they most treasure, the parts where they were happiest, are the parts they've spent together. Also, it doesn't hurt that they have saved each other's lives multiple times. So, what is the future going to look like for them? Showrunner Aaron Ahas has hinted often that there is going to be a significant time gap between Season 3 of the show and the upcoming Season 4. So what is that going to look like? We don't know how significant that time gap is going to be. It could be a couple months, or it could be a couple years. I'm leaning more toward thinking it's going to be a couple months, but who knows. I doubt they would split this couple up and keep them apart for years when they've only been together for a few months. It doesn't make much narrative sense. Besides, I want to examine what happens in the aftermath of Season 3. A lot happens right at the end, really quickly, and I want to see the show kind of tease out the consequences of that. Does the elf-human alliance last after the downfall of Viren? And what happens to Viren now that he's back alive? How does he respond? Is he still the same person, or have his experiences changed him? And what's happening to Claudia? Is she going to keep going down the dark path she's been on? But even a few months would be a long time for these kids who have only recently found each other amidst a dark and doubtful and war-torn world. I hope that they can see each other again as soon as possible. I can only hope, but I hope for the best. When they do see each other again, they will gain an appreciation for what they had in their relationship. Their feelings for each other will grow stronger, and they will swear to not let themselves be parted again. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Even $1 a month is really helpful. Keep watching The Dragon Prince. It is a brilliant, electrifying, empathetic show, and it is only getting better with time. I can't wait to see what they do in Season 4. The show is getting really interesting, and I'm so glad it's been renewed. So anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.